So the Kansas City Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl, and that means more Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. How convenient for Taylor Swift's brand, the NFL, and Pfizer, who's made Travis Kelce their poster boy. A lot of people are saying conservatives need to just shut up and relax. It's just a pop star. I mean, come on, you guys overthink everything. Interesting. I'm going to talk about whether I think it's a Psy-Op or not, and whether I think Republicans, conservatives, and people skeptical of the whole relationship are doing too much. Side note, report came out today that the Biden administration is looking for an endorsement from Taylor Swift. Let's talk about it. And for the second story, I've covered a lot of how MAGA influencers and Trump supporters will literally suck up and slobber over anybody as long as they flatter Donald Trump, including now, checks notes, Republican Governor Doug Burgum, who has some very interesting Bill Gates connections, has accepted donations from Bill Gates, and for some reason, right-wing journalists don't do journalism anymore. They slobber like Taylor Swift fans over pharmaceutical politicians. Somebody's got to do it. God bless you guys. Dream Rare Podcast starts now. It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of Dream Rare Podcast. Give me a thumbs up on my video if you like it. Also, give me a thumbs up in the chat if the audio is good, and then we're going to get it cracking. So first thing we're going to talk about is Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce a Psy-Op? Obviously, there's been a huge cross promotion between Taylor Swift, the NFL. Travis Kelce is Mr. Pfizer, as Aaron Rodgers calls him, and they're in the Super Bowl. More airtime, more promotion. A lot of people saying a lot of things. Some saying lay off. It's just, conservatives always overthink everything. Some people saying something suspicious. I'll talk about that. And then I want to talk about Doug Burgum and his Bill Gates connections. And also, I just thought of a really funny, and to me, it's funny. To other people, it's like hateful and they hate me for it. But that I feel like Trump fans and Taylor Swift fans are extremely similar. It's like grown men kind of act like Taylor Swift fans over Trump, but we'll ease in on it. I don't want to lose half my audience, but anyway. So I've been talking a lot about chess recently because I always get into random hobbies and I like chess, but people that are good at chess, they're pattern recognizers and they're doing things for a reason. You can't do it randomly. So, if you look at politics, this relates to the Taylor Swift thing. If you look at politics and you say there's two teams, right? There's team red and there's team blue, and they're fighting each other, and I'm going to pick a side and I'm going to win because I'm team blue, and team red's bad because Trump's a fascist, and team blue's good because Joe Biden's my grandpa. Like, you're playing checkers. You're playing like there's very intelligent people and perhaps not intelligent people who just have a lot of money who figured out, well, if I have $50 billion or if I control banking or whatever, it's like I can kind of hedge my bet and get involved in both sides. So whether Tim Scott wins or his opponent, it's like you're still going to get something similar. So, it's the same thing when it comes to Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. I'm not telling you to hate on it. I'm not telling you to have an opinion about it. I don't really care. But to the people that will say, oh, people are just overthinking it. It's, there's just two young guys. Oh, excuse me. Typo. One young guy and one young woman in love. And it's just normal. And, it's just love at first sight. And they're just out having a rendezvous in public. Like, come on, guys, stop overthinking it. Like, no, you could Google fake relationships in Hollywood PR team, and you could find BuzzFeed articles that are like 14 times that people admitted to having fake relationships for PR reasons. I lived in Hollywood for like 4 or 5 years. I lived in LA for 7, 8 years. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm not a whistleblower or anything. And I'm not even saying I was really in the industry. Obviously, you live in LA long enough, people who are film directors, etc. But in general, it's like everybody knows that people do that for PR reasons. Like they have PR firms that'll be like, listen, you should date that person and cross promote fans. And then, you'll be 5 times as famous and your album will sell 3 times as many copies. This is well known. Sometimes they date for real. Sometimes the whole thing is fake. Sometimes they just go on a date and they, invite paparazzi themselves. This is very well known. I'm not saying everybody does it, but it's one of those things where people look at you like you have a thousand eyes and they're like, you think that that's possible? It's like, I know that it's possible. The question is, are they doing it or not? It's the same thing with politics. People will be like, do you think you think the Democrats could have purposely arrested Trump to elevate him in the primary? Absolutely. I not only think it could happen, I know it could happen, and I think it did happen. But I'm not saying it's for sure. What I am saying is if you're not considering that this exists, you're not playing the same game that a lot of people are playing. I know for a fact that dozens of celebrities are set up all the time for PR reasons. And just look at what happened with the Taylor Swift thing. Me personally, I can't prove this. I'm not trying to over look into it, but I think absolutely this was a business deal and a PR stunt to an extent. All you have to do is look at someone like a Travis Kelce. You know, he's had reality shows where there were 50 women vying for his attention. Like he's wanted to be more famous than just a normal football star for a while. Nothing wrong with that. I don't care. He's probably the best tight end of all time. I think he just passed Jerry Rice in receptions. I mean, the guy is a all-star. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, no question. Probably one of the best players in recent history. I mean, the guy crushes. But, you know, out of nowhere, he dates Taylor Swift. I think it was like the Pfizer ad came out. I saw it all over Twitter and I thought it was photoshopped. I was like, is this real? Because I always like Travis Kelce. Why not? He's a great player. What's there not to like? And then he's got this like Pfizer ad, 2 at once. He's promoting people to get 2 shots at once, the Pfizer shot and the flu shot. You know, he's like, I won 2 Super Bowls. I'm a two for one. You can do 2 too. And I'm like, wow. And then 2 days later, the Taylor Swift relationship comes out. So my alarm started going off right when I heard this. It's just like all of a sudden he's the poster boy for Pfizer. And then 2 days later, he's dating the most famous woman in the world. To me, nothing about that seemed organic. I'm not hating. I'm not jealous. It's just like that's my pattern recognition analysis being like, this is interesting. And then you see the NFL, you know, is running Taylor Swift commercials for her tour, right? So either there's 2 options. Taylor Swift paid the NFL to plant her tour commercials in there like any advertiser would, or maybe she didn't have to pay if she was smart. If they're going to use her likeness and image all over and she's selling a bunch of Kansas City merch, I would think that Taylor Swift struck a deal where she didn't have to pay for a commercial. I would if I were Taylor Swift, and I would try to negotiate something if I'm going to be there all the time. It's like, yeah, I don't want to pay a couple $1 million for ads. Why don't you run my ads for free? I'll give you free promotion. We'll cross promote. Girls will buy Taylor, Travis Kelce merchandise and Kansas City merchandise. Guys will talk about me. And it's this like cross pollination of 2 fan groups that normally don't coexist, but now they're just cross pollinating their fans. This happens all the time in PR. Can you tell that I'm not hating on it? I don't hate Travis Kelce. I don't hate Taylor Swift. Every time I say anything analytical, people just jump to like I'm being so hateful. The funniest thing, I don't want to go on a tangent, but I actually do, so I'm going to. Anytime I post something thought-provoking about politics that isn't just like MAGA slop, like Trump, or Biden's old, it's like, we know. If I post anything like intelligent or thought-provoking, people freak out in my comment section and they default to like fandom, like panic mode where they're like, so who do I vote for? Who do I vote for? And I'm like, what do you vote for who you want to? I don't know. Trump versus Biden, vote for Trump. I don't like, that's fine. I'm not, what are you talking about? Like, it's like if I say that I think that this was like a PR relationship, they're like, oh, so love doesn't matter? Oh, you think love doesn't exist? It's like, that's not what I say. Oh, you don't think this could happen? No, that's not at all what I'm saying. But for some reason, people just like simple, like sloppy, just like generic analysis. And whenever you say something thought-provoking, their mind spirals. Like if I said in politics, Big Pharma paid Joe Biden this amount of money. Big Pharma paid the Republican Party this amount of money. Big Pharma is building a building for Kentucky Republicans. Big Pharma gave Trump this much money. And I just say that people spiral. So what do I do? Who do I vote for? And it's like they're like, mind is a mess. It's like, why does the truth freak you out so much? That says more about you than it does me. Like, what is wrong with you? I'm not telling you not to vote. I'm just pointing out factual information that you ignore. Like people think if they ignore reality that things will go the way they want them to go. And then when they don't go the way you think they're going to go, because you're not doing pattern recognition, they spiral because they're like 1776, or they're like, oh my gosh, the fascism, or, like Trump's and it's like, why are people so fascinated with like fantasy lying to themselves? Like, you can watch a celebrity relationship and be like, oh, it's love at first sight. Yeah, it's love at first sight. Now you're watching their show. It's love at first sight. Now you're buying their merch. It's love at first sight. Now Pfizer's getting advertisements. It's love at first sight. Now Taylor's the richest like tour of all time. It's like, you don't think these people are thinking business? Like, there's smart people in executive offices thinking about how to manipulate your emotions and your feelings to make a fortune. And if you're just a fan, you're just a fan. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, I just find it funny when people spiral at you when you're like, you think Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce could be that? It's like, absolutely, of course. I mean, what's the chances that you come out with a Pfizer ad and then a day later the press is all over this idea that, he's dating Taylor Swift? Like, this stuff to me just seems so planted. I'm not saying the Super Bowl's fake or anything. I mean, I would have thought it was fake if Detroit won the Super Bowl, because in 2020, when the Ukraine war broke out, or was it 2022 or 2021? When was the Ukraine war? Sorry, I got a Ukraine war start. I got to get my dates right. Start date, Russia. Oh, February 2022. So when the Ukraine war broke out, this is just a coincidence, I guess. The Rams won the Super Bowl at the same time that the Ukraine war broke out, and the Rams had the color of Ukraine. So I was thinking, who's America's ally that they're supporting in war now? Israel. The reason that Lindsey Graham wants to bomb Iran, Israel. The reason we're all over the Middle East, Israel. I mean, you're not going to hear that on most right-wing news, but that's what's going on. So I thought, that would be crazy if white and blue, like a white and blue team, won this year as we're supporting Israel in these foreign wars. But they didn't win. So I was like, thank goodness, because then I would have thought it was rigged. But anyway, I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm just saying it's interesting. It's interesting that Taylor Swift is going to be at the Super Bowl. It's interesting that they're getting more airtime. It's interesting that they're promoting Paxlovid all over. They're like, it's COVID, Paxlovid, all this pharmaceutical Pfizer stuff as Travis Kelce's a spokesperson. I'm not going to say that they rigged the game, because Patrick Mahomes is great. He was great before Taylor Swift got there. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in recent history. They picked a winning team, a winning player. They're not going to pick like the Panthers. Taylor Swift knows how to win. Like, pick the team that just won the Super Bowl recently. Like, don't go to the Reds. Are they the Redskins anymore? Can you say Redskins? What's their name? The Washington insert name, like, Sega Genesis game broken, where they don't even have a name. Football team. Did they pick a new name? Washington football, like blank space. It's like humanity. Back when you used to play N64, you used to have to blow in the cartridge. Like, when the cartridge malfunctions, there was this trick where you just blew in it like a harmonica. So, I feel like that's humanity. Is broken. We need to blow in the humanity cartridge, because there's no, the Commanders. That's a stupid name. I'm calling them the Redskins. Whatever. We can call them the Washington White Boys, the Caucasians. They're like, would you like it if they named a team after you? Yes. Would you want a racial slur after your race as a football team? Absolutely. I would rock that. I would wear that merch every week. I absolutely want a racial slur team for my race, or one of my races, because I'm a few. The Washington Euro trash. I'd be like, sign me up. I'll take a shirt. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm not saying the games are rigged, but I am saying that I believe Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce is a PR relationship. Pfizer wins big. Taylor Swift wins big. The NFL wins big. It's a cross-pollination, cross-promotion. Travis Kelce gets famous. Travis Kelce gets more attention. Taylor Swift gets more attention. And, apparently, allegedly, the Biden administration wants her to endorse him. And, a lot of people will say, it doesn't matter when a celebrity endorses a politician. Like Jay-Z and Beyonce and endorsed Hillary Clinton, and it didn't work versus Trump. Yeah, but I don't know. I think Taylor Swift is a different beast, though. Like, I don't think there's ever been someone as famous as Taylor Swift. Like, I think she's reaching these new levels of fame that are astronomical. I mean, they took down Elon Musk, Mr. Free Speech or whatever. I like Elon Musk. I'm just saying, if there was some sort of weird fake porn AI images of Taylor Swift, to be honest, that whole thing like went over my head. I was skiing, I came back, I just didn't care to look into it because I don't care about AI images. But if you search Taylor Swift on X or Twitter now, nothing comes up. Like she got an entire website to just block her name from being like searched. She's like a supreme overlord or something. But I think that she will affect the election. And if Biden does get her to endorse, like I do think that she can make like 1 million young girls vote that are 18 and never would vote. And to be honest, from 18 to 25, as somebody who was 18 to 25 at one point, you don't really know that much. I'm humble enough to say it now. When I was 19, I thought I knew everything. Once I turned 27, my worldview changed. I started paying taxes. I started paying healthcare. I started becoming a man. Like you learn stuff as you get old. And I think that 18 to 25-year-olds are just like spiraling in their I don't want to knock myself when I was younger because I wasn't stupid, but you just don't know that much. So I think that she can just destroy that demographic and get them all to vote based off of like abortion or whatever, pick a topic. And I think she can impact the election. So that'll be interesting. I mean, what a perfect storm for Democrats, Big Pharma, Taylor Swift, and the NFL. I don't think it's random. I think it's a PR relationship. And, I wish them well. Maybe they'll have kids and have a happy family. Maybe they'll break up in, 7 months and they'll both cash out on it. Let me know what you guys think, but that's my take. And the last thing I will say before I move on is it does happen. Like if you're just saying, oh, that could never happen. It's just football. It's just Taylor Swift. They're just in love. Like you're just a consumer. You know what I'm saying? You don't understand how Hollywood works. I've said this before, but not everybody watches every stream. I've been on a set of a reality show before because my roommate was like some sort of assistant director. I don't even know. And they just needed an extra. And I knew it was fake. But when I went on set to be like an extra and like they told me to like block a light pole because I'm tall. They're like, can you stand next to this light? I was like, I've never felt more worthless in my life. I'm like a light blocker. Thanks a lot. I thought I'd be like a main character, but no. Anyway, I was just like an extra one day. It's so fake. Like they're like, oh, they're really doing that. It's all scripted. It's all scripted. It's all fake. It's all set up. Nothing's real. The people, like the extras aren't real. Like that's how it really works. If you want to believe it's not that way, you can, but that's literally how it works. So it's like, you think that everything's a conspiracy theory? No, I lived in Hollywood for 5 years and I know that they set people up because it's a good business move. And, it's the same with politics. Like people that just left wing or right wing that don't think this way, like you're like there's a reason the elites think you're cattle. I'm not saying you are, I think you're humans, but like they look at you like you're animals. So you should try to like prove them wrong, not be like, but I wear a blue hat and the red team is bad. It's like there's rich people that have bought out both sides like for like hundreds of years. Like, how do you not know that? You don't care. You just want to fight. You're like a rock'em sock'em robot. They just put you in an arena. You like bash each other's heads in and they laugh hysterically at you. And then they'll switch their puppet out as soon as they need a new war. It's like so obvious at this point, but yeah, I don't know. I guess people like to play checkers and they like to just be fans. Speaking of which, I really think it's hilarious. And I know some people are going to get mad, but I just don't care because it's worth the comedy. I see a connection between Taylor Swift fans and Trump fans. Like, instead of like young women that like are obsessed with Taylor Swift because she's a pop star and she's like just like them, grown men are like even crazier. Like conservative men are even crazier over Donald Trump. Like if you point one thing out that's factually true that they don't want to hear, grown men will spiral like their 15-year-old Taylor Swift fans. Like literally, I posted something the other day. I mean, I was trying to get a rise out of people, but also it's just the truth. I was like, if you're upset over like if you're conservative and you're saying Travis Kelce's a sellout because he worked with Pfizer to promote Pfizer vaccines, you also have to say Trump's a sellout because Trump calls himself the father of the vaccine. He says he pushed it more than the FDA and Fauci. He took $1 million from Pfizer. He took a donation. He hired pharmaceutical lobbyists. And then with government taxpayer money, Trump bought 100 million doses and still brags about it to this day. So it's like when it comes to like pharmaceutical compromise, like Trump is just as compromised, if not more compromised than Travis Kelce is, and he's way more responsible for all this COVID vaccine stuff because he was the president who had the printing press behind him or the money. Anyway, not the printing press, but the money printer. So I say that, right? And it's like the grown Republican Trump supporters spiral like they're crazier than Taylor Swift fans. They're like, "Arr, arr," and they start like just like foaming at the mouth and yelling and making up excuses that literally don't even make sense. They're like, that's all he knew at the time. It's like he sold them like 3 years later. Like your excuses don't match reality. It's just funny. I'm like, wow, I actually no joke. I respect Taylor Swift fans more than I respect Trump worshipers at this point because at least Taylor Swift fans, it's like it's just a pop star and like they're like young girls and they just like think that she's awesome. Like you're like a 60-year-old man who doesn't understand how lobbying and politics works and you're like drooling over Donald Trump. Like it's even creepier. I want to show you like a little bit of how creepy it's getting because the MAGA agenda claims to like stand up to the Bill Gates agenda and him buying farmland and all the pharmaceutical stuff he does and everything Bill Gates does. Most MAGA supporters think that, Bill Gates is not their guy, yet they're aligned with Bill Gates guys all the time. Trump is a Bill Gates guy, Doug Burnham's a Bill Gates guy, and now they're drooling over the fact that Trump or Doug Burnham endorsed Trump. Let me show you this real quick, and then we'll move on. So this is from 2016, Seattle Times. A Microsoft star seeks to run in North Dakota. So I guess he was a star at Microsoft. Bill Gates donated $100,000 to the Doug Burnham campaign for North Dakota governor, and he got 964K. So that's about 1/10 of the money he raised. Obviously, North Dakota is not a big state as far as like money being poured into it. So that's pretty significant. Bill Gates donating $100,000 to Doug Burgum. The next one I'm going to show you is a Facebook post from Doug Burgum, 2017. He's hanging out with Bill Gates with that big smile on his face, talking about harnessing technology. And, of course, if someone donates to your campaign, they're going to have some sort of impact or influence on your administration, I would think. And then all it takes is Doug Burgum to endorse President Trump. And you look at all the MAGA sloppers, they are just slobbering over him, acting like he's a superhero. Look at this picture. It's Trump, Vivek, Burgum, and Scott. Someone said MAGA 2024. That's Citizen Free Press, who's like deranged with their Taylor Swift obsession over Trump. They're like literally fangirls. They've ruined their whole account, which was supposed to be objective journalism, by just slopping over like the lowest common denominator stuff. But anyway, it's like I saw people retweeting this saying, these are the superheroes. These are like, it's literally Taylor Swift cosplay fandom for grown men and women who like want to believe in the Republican Party. And the funniest thing, if you look at that lineup, Trump is the father of the vaccine. Vivek Ramaswamy is a hedge fund guy turned pharma bro turned guy who cried on January 6th, is now pretending to be ultra MAGA. Doug Burgum got endorsements from Bill Gates, and Tim Scott is like Mike Pence without the Christian wife. Like Tim Scott is as establishment as it gets. He's never been an authentic person. He's never been an outsider. He's literally probably just as establishment as Mike Pence, if not more. And that's the new superhero of MAGA. All you have to do is flatter Donald Trump, and all of a sudden they're worshiping Bill Gates donated, governors who are probably, God knows what he's doing in North Dakota with that farmland. Then you got the hedge fund guy turned pharmaceutical CEO who was on Jim Cramer's show, hawking a failed Alzheimer's drug, selling it like a sleaze guy salesman who cried on January 6th because it was so sad. And now he's like Mr. 1776. And then Tim Scott, like these are the superheroes. I mean, you have to see the similarities between little girls who like Taylor Swift and grown sloppy men who obsess over Donald Trump. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm just saying like it's like slobbering over the guy where it's like they're like, oh, he's my hero. And it's like, does anyone do journalism anymore or no? I'm going to show this next one. And then I got to give credit to the guy who showed me the Doug Burnham, Bill Gates stuff, because he was like having a conniption on Twitter being like, why did you do your own post about it? It's like, because I wanted to talk about it. So I'm going to give this guy a post or woman. I don't know who it was, but they were going nuts at me on Twitter. So I want to give them credit. Here's the second part. So, Bill Gates said that Trump offered him a job in the White House, right? And nobody has asked Trump. I've asked dozens of influencers, just ask Trump in an interview, because I know a lot of people who interview him. Nobody will ask him. It's like their weekend at Bernie's cover up for Trump, the same way Democrats do for Biden. Nobody even wants to ask him, why did you try to hire Bill Gates in the White House? Or is that true, Trump? Because no one has disproven it yet. I almost guarantee you it's true. And here's how I know that it's probably true that Trump tried to hire Bill Gates and no one cares. Because in 2018, when he said that Trump was super interested in a universal flu vaccine, right? He said that he met with Trump and got him super interested in this idea of a universal flu vaccine and that he would, be a star. And Trump offered him a position in the White House. And a year later, over a year and a half later, Trump pushes an executive order for modernizing influenza vaccines in the United States, which is an idea that no one had even thought of in 2018 when Bill Gates was talking about it. So it's almost definite that Trump got that from Bill Gates. But this is what Citizens Free Press does. They masquerade as if they're nonpartisan, unbiased journalists or whatever, but they literally just like slobber over Donald Trump and they post, this is a fake AI image. It's artificial intelligence. Don't make the sheriff mad. It's like, not only do they not ask questions, do they not report this stuff, do they not tell the truth, they're actually brainwashing MAGA people with sloppy, slobbery content, to rot your brain and get you to think that Donald Trump is like a Taylor Swift cosplay person wearing a cowboy hat. Like if Trump wore a cowboy hat, post a picture, but that's an AI image designed to get you to like idol worship a guy with an image that's non-existent, when what is existent is you got the Bill Gates endorsed and funded Doug Burnham endorsing Donald Trump. He'll probably get a role in his administration. Trump offered a job to Bill Gates. Nobody even knows that and nobody cares, because when you say it, people just say that you're hating, because the Trump fandom is like Taylor Swift for grown men. Like they're crazier than Taylor Swift fans. It's like literally more insane, where you're like, yo, you know how you think you're taking on the Bill Gates agenda? And they're like, yeah. It's like, what if Bill Gates was literally working with the guy that you're obsessed over? And they're like, no, 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 no. They like grown men like piss their pants. They spiral. They like rip their, like they're like freaking out. And like on Twitter, they're like trying to figure out ways to like justify, like it's like if Taylor Swift trips and people like say she's Willy Wonka, like, oh, she meant to trip. It was it was part of her thing. And it's like, whatever you got to tell yourself, it's just crazy. And I want to give credit real quick, because this person really spiraled on Twitter as well. And so they tagged me in the comments, and they, I was talking about something, maybe how Trump is endorsing the guy who's running against Thomas Massie, and Thomas Massie is like the only good person in Congress. So if it is true that Trump is endorsing his opponent, it just further goes into this, this theory that Trump is obviously controlled opposition, because not only does he hire the swamp, but there's only like one, not, in my opinion, the only person that I even semi-trust in Congress that I truly believe cares about America and the Constitution is Thomas Massie. He's the closest person to Ron Paul that we've had since Ron Paul, and Trump has tried to kick him out of the party multiple times. DC Drano and Cat Turd, who are big Trump worshipers, Trump slobbers, they've tried to kick him out of the party a bunch of times. Now there's some fake op who's pretending to be Mr. MAGA running against Thomas Massie to kick him out of the party to, get him out of there. And nobody even realizes this stuff. So, I mean, this guy was the one who tagged me in some of the information about Doug Burnham. His name on Twitter, or her name on Twitter, is Doggy Stylist. I'm gonna like name this name a lot, because they really, really desperately, like, they blocked me, by the way. They really wanted credit for this. So I just want Doggy Stylist in all caps at David Paul 174451. What happened was I was posting about Thomas Massie or something of that sort, and they tagged me in this post, and it said, hey, Anomaly, have you seen this? Like, Doug Burnham has, a lot of Bill Gates connections, right? So I saw it earlier in the day, and I was really scrambling to try to find where it was, because honestly, I get like thousands of people talking on all my social platforms. Like, I don't put my notifications on. I would get like 10,000 a day. So I was searching for like 20 minutes trying to find that information, because I was like, oh, I want to talk about that Doug Burnham, Bill Gates thing, but I couldn't find it. Like, I didn't know where it was, and I couldn't like access it. I was like, where is this? So then I just went to Google and I searched some of the keywords, and then I found the articles, I screenshotted them, and then I made my own post with different articles and different stuff that I've talked about before. And then this person, Doggy Stylist, aka David Paul 174451, they came to my comments and they said, oh, why did you steal my stuff and not credit me? How I was the one that showed you. And I was like, I'll give you credit, man. But also, like, they had like blurry screenshots, and like they had, I mean, the info was good, but the way they kind of like curated it was not that great in my opinion, but it got my attention. So they were the ones that gave it to me. But I wanted to like recurate it, screenshot different things. And I didn't use all four of their like screenshots. I just used one of them and I used three of my own to kind of paint the story. And this person was like spiraling in the comments. I'm like, I'm giving you credit, doggy stylist. Yes, I'm not pretending like I found out myself. You posted it in my comment section. Just like if I post something in the comment section, which is like screenshots of Trump trying to hire Bill Gates, I hope other people use it. And I don't care if they give me credit or not, because it's about, I didn't write the USA Today article. It's like, I just screenshotted it. So it's like this guy, it's not like he did the journalism. He just screenshotted an article, showed me to get my attention. He got my attention and then spiraled hysterically that I wouldn't do exactly what he said. It's like, I don't, if I post something with 4 screenshots and you only want to use one, you could just take it and post it on your page. You don't have to like do everything I do. So this is the credit you wanted, David Paul. You're the man. That's how things work. It's like, you don't have to spiral that hard, but God bless. And someone said you need to mow your wall, Whiskey Pete. Yeah, if anybody could get me a wall lawnmower, it's getting kind of grassy there. I'll mow the wall for you. Anyway, yeah, he blocked me after. It's all good. It is what it is. So anyway, someone said, anomaly, if you didn't steal my post on Twitter, you would have seen the real reason between the Trump Gates Burgum connection. Now you will never know because you stole my research fraud. Oh, this person's in the comment section. Nice. MJ. You screenshotted articles, bro. I'm not stealing your research. It's not like you wrote it and I published it with my full name and was like, this is my work. You screenshotted an article from 2015. Guys, I've done thousands of videos with thousands of screenshots that other people have literally used after I showed them that. And I don't ever ask for credit because it's about the information. If I screenshot the North Dakota Star and I'm like, yo, look at this connection between Bill Gates and Doug Burgum, and someone else posted on their Instagram, I don't go to their comment section and spiral and say they stole it. It's like, I didn't write the article, neither did you. You screenshotted 4 different things, which is what I've done thousands of times. I wouldn't be surprised if you do that because you saw how I operate with other topics. So thank you for tagging me in it. But like your ego over like demanding credit for an article screenshot is like somebody who steals a meme and then says that someone else stole the meme that I stole. It's like, get over yourself. It's like, do you even want people to know this stuff, or or is it like about you? It's so crazy. But God bless you, doggy stylist. I don't even have to say your name. It's like I'm literally giving you credit because you spiraled. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. I think that just following people on Twitter, like I'm gonna have to like just turn the comments off real quick because this guy's like having like a mental breakdown. But everybody kind of bashed the QAnon people a lot. Like not everybody, but like a lot of like more normie Trump supporters and conservatives would be like, oh, the Q people are crazy, right? Like they're so crazy because they like worship Donald Trump and they think he's got a secret plan. And, they're like always like hallucinating what they wish Trump was doing. Like everything's a secret plot. When Trump locks down, they say he's arresting the Vatican. Like these people literally spiraled into mental illness, and a bunch of grown anonymous men dragged a bunch of MAGA moms into mental illness, thinking that they're like some Scooby-Doo mystery plot, mixing truth with lies and basically creating like a false satanic religion revolving around Donald Trump instead of Jesus Christ, mixing it with scriptures. So when things like lockdown and martial law start happening, instead of being like, oh, this is government tyranny and Trump's in on it, these people spiraled and said Trump's arresting pedophiles like in underground tunnels or something. So it's like everybody was kind of like making fun of them. But what you realize is the people in MAGA that aren't that, they're also that too. Like there are people that just like Trump and vote for him, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, why wouldn't you vote for Trump over Biden? Like, I understand. But like Citizen Free Press and all these people, like they're doing the same thing that QAnon is doing without just saying QAnon. Like they're like, they're posting like AI images of him with cowboy hats on, and they're just like, you get what I'm saying? Like they're like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And then I'm like, hey, what if Trump, because by the way, for that guy that's in the comments, like I've been talking about for years how Trump had that meeting with Bill Gates, but also I didn't come up with that theory. It's all in the press out there. So if other people are talking about it, I would never like run in their comments and like psychotically freak out saying that they stole my research. I've been talking about that for years. The Doug Burgum thing, I didn't know as much, but I think it's a lesser bombshell than literally Trump trying to hire Bill Gates. But anyway, it's like, if you bring this information to people, they just reject it. Like they completely ignore it because they're like, I would rather post Trump eating a slice of pizza and wearing an artificial intelligence cowboy hat, and I'm gonna be like a Taylor Swift girl and be like, look, he's a sheriff. He's a sheriff. It's like, is that a man running that account? Like, if Citizen Free Press is a grown man who's posting AI images of Trump as a sheriff and being like, the sheriff's coming to town, like, you need mental help. Like, that guy needs to go see a psychiatrist. Like, they're like, are you okay? Like, you're 55. What are you doing? Posting AI images of Trump wearing cowboy hats, telling myself that he's a sheriff. It's like, are you like a furry or something? Is this like a cosplay? Like, it's literally crazier than Taylor Swift. And everybody's getting so crazy in that movement that nobody even realizes it. And not to dunk on this guy again, but it's like, when you have someone like myself where I don't reject information, if somebody shows me something, I try to incorporate it, they get mad that I incorporated it. So it's like, I understand why people are tribal, because everybody wants a tribe, right? Everybody wants social circles and friend groups. And at a certain point, it's like, team red versus team blue. You don't want to be unloyal, so you just kind of go with your team. But there's not really like a big return for being an honest person, because it's like, when people are like desperately trying to show you information and you actually like post the information they want you to show, they spiral and freak out. And that's the true story of that. Like, everything I've like, there's certain things that everything that I know, I've learned from someone else. Everything. Like, I didn't wake up out of the womb and know everything. It's like, I read books, I read articles, I've researched. Like, there's other people that have inspired me to learn and research certain things, and I've done it. And I hope I have that effect on certain people too. Like, if Tim Pool starts talking about stuff that really matters and posting articles that matter, I consider that a good thing. And it's like, maybe they got it from me, maybe they didn't, but it's not the point is to get the information disseminated. And whenever if I post a meme that I didn't make, I can't freak out. It's not mine. I didn't create it. If I screenshot Politico articles from 2018, anyone can do that. Like, it's not mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, so this is why a lot of people like run away from these types of people, because it's like, they're so desperate to get certain articles in front of your face. They get them in front of your face and you post them, and then they literally spiral. It's like, I curated it differently than you. You're not the first person that's told me about the connections between Bill Gates and the Republican Party. I've been talking about it for 3 or 4 years. You added a new piece to the puzzle of a guy who endorsed Donald Trump. And because, unlike you, I don't run a doggy stylist, Twitter with 5 people on it, which is fine. I get thousands of notifications a day. So when I went to go find all that stuff, I couldn't find it. So I was trying to figure out how to even get it back. I'm like, where is that comment? So I looked it up. I screenshotted stuff. And yeah, I saw your post, but the way you curated it, I wanted to curate it differently. I don't know what to really tell you. Like, I wanted to make a different point, and I included other screenshots that I already had saved in my phone. And I gave you credit today. I could have just completely blew you off and been like, yeah, I thought of all this myself. No, I'm giving you 100% credit, but like, if you want people to go to your Twitter and see your post, I'm literally promoting your Twitter. Go to David Paul 174451, who blocked me, and see his original post. And if he has more to share about this topic, go look at him and give him credit and give him love and give him attention and tell him he's amazing and tell him it's all about him. But then make sure, if you read that person's information, whether it's a guy or a girl, never, ever tell anybody else about it, because he doesn't actually want other people to know about it. He wants all the credit, and he wants no one to share it with anyone else. Because every time you tell somebody that Doug Burnham took money from Bill Gates, which was published in 2015 in a public paper, you can't not say this guy's name. So make sure whenever you talk about this topic, you do not spread this information without letting everybody know that you ever tell that this is the source of it, okay? Or else they're going to spiral. Let me know what you guys think. I just think it's funny too, that one picture where it's like Doug Burgum, Tim Scott, Donald Trump, and Vivek Ramaswamy. And like, these are the MAGA superheroes. Guys, if I'm trying to be nice about this. If you're like a 50-year-old guy, even 40, 30, however old you are, and you're posting pictures of Doug Burgum, Tim Scott, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Donald Trump and saying these are our MAGA superheroes, you're literally crazier than a Taylor Swift fan. Like, that's insane. Like, these are, one of them is funded by Bill Gates. One of them went to school on a Soros scholarship, said they were broke when they were making millions of dollars. They lied about that, posted op-eds saying, George Soros is right about open societies, cried on January 6th, and did hedge fund work before they moved to the pharmaceutical industry, ran that around in circles, and then said they cried on January 6th and wrote a book about how Trump is a sore loser like Stacey Abrams. That, the father of the vaccine who claims that he rushed the FDA, and Tim Scott, who I don't even need to make fun of because the joke writes itself, these are your superheroes. It literally makes more sense to believe in Taylor Swift than to believe in these people. Like, two of them are billionaires. One of them is the father of the vaccine. One of them is a hedge fund pharma bro. One of them was funded by Bill Gates. And the other one is Tim Scott, who, once again, I don't even need to dunk on because he's establishment as it comes. Like, and this is the opposition to the Democrats. Like, I feel like I want Trump to win, obviously, over Biden, but this movement needs to like crash and burn because, like, dude, it's like grown men acting like little girls. Like, how long do people think this is going to sustain itself? Like, you can't just post AI pictures of Trump wearing cowboy hats and expect to like beat the deep state. Like, the deep state is way smarter than you posting an AI image of a cowboy hat. It's like all these Fed traps that people get like lured into where it's like, everyone's like 1776. And it's like, guys, it's not George Washington era. They're tracking your phone. You know how many organizers are in prison because not only did they go to January 6th, but they're just typing and texting stupid shit to their friends and stuff, talking about revolution, this or that. Like, your phones are being tracked. If you were at January 6th or, one of your friends got arrested, they're in your group chats. You're probably talking to feds. Everybody thinks they got all these friends in this industry. I'm not saying everyone's a fed. I'm just saying if you're typing shit, think to yourself, what would a fed think about me saying this? I'm not saying to lie. I'm not saying to not tell jokes or be funny, but like with this like 1776, like, oh, we're going to do all this and that. Now you're on a RICO charge. Now, now your little dinky protest, is turning into like a full blown 20-year prison sentence. Like, like this is chess. This is what the feds are doing. This is what the Democratic Party's doing. The Republicans will probably throw you under the bus the second, like, just like they did on January 6th. They're like, arrest them, whatever, like it's like every man for himself. So I'm just saying, yeah, don't Fed post. Fed posting is when you say stuff that would get you in trouble when you don't even really mean it. Like, how many of these people, I'm not trying to be repetitive, but like, say Tim Pool. Do you think Tim Pool's going to fight in a civil war? I don't even know if he showers, let alone is going to fight in a civil war. Does he even wash and dry his beanie? You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not fighting in a civil war. It's just he yells civil war and people get emotional. When people get emotional, they're more attached to the topic. So it's just like, you think Maine, the liberals of Vermont are going to march down to, the conservatives of New Hampshire. Conservatives don't even run New Hampshire. Biden won New Hampshire and Clinton won New Hampshire. It's like, who are you going to fight? You're going to fight your barista who voted for Biden? Like, nobody, like, it's a digital age now. You're not living in those years. Someone said you're so jealous of Tim Pool. It's pathetic. Whatever you want to tell yourself. It's like, I just don't like seeing people treated badly, and I don't like seeing people get set up. Once again, there were people that are rotting in prison right now, where if they would have listened to me or someone else, they would not be rotting in prison right now. You know what I'm saying? When everyone else is telling them civil war, MAGA, Linwood, QAnon, trust the plan, like Chrissy Teigen's getting arrested, the Vatican's under construction, we got to go, Mike Pence is going to do this. When all these in unison, I was like, I'm not going. I don't know. Donald Trump's selling too many vaccines. That's like a red flag. It's like if you're dating someone and every night is girls' night. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying she's cheating, but like, how many times are you going to do girls' night? That's like Trump with the Moderna vaccine. He tweeted it like 7 times. And I was like, all right, I'm not saying he's establishment, but after he tweeted Moderna so many times, I'm like, that's too many red flags for me. Like, I liked Trump. I voted for Trump. I wanted him to win the election. I thought he would be able to do something before January, but I pay attention to red flags. So it's like you give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm like, something seems a little off. But while I'm saying that, everyone's yelling at me, shut up. Lynn Wood's going to lead us. Shut up. Okay. If you think so. And there's people that are dead and in prison now because they couldn't see through the cosplay Taylor Swift Trump theater, literally, So I'm not, it has nothing to do with jealousy. It's just like, I don't agree with people that are constantly yelling angrily and hyping up MAGA people to fall for Fed traps and to think that there's going to be some massive thing. Someone said the trucker convoy going to Texas this week. I would stay far away from that personally. I'm not going to tell people what to do as long as they're peaceful, law-abiding citizens. But like, what is a trucker convoy going to do? Like, what is that going to do? It's like a hangout. It's like a big hangout. But, maybe they have something that they're doing that's like legal and righteous. And I'm not, this is kind of how I am. I just mind my own business, but I would stay as far away as possible from that trucker convoy. Personally, it's like, what? I don't get it. Like, I'm logical. Like, what is it doing? Raising awareness? Like, for what? How? Like, what? What is a trucker convoy going to do? I mean, it made more sense, I think, for the COVID like mandates because they weren't going to let them do their job. So they were like, nah, we're going to do it. I don't get this one. But to each their own. Did I see the trucker convoy lights from space? I did not. Someone said girls' night is great. Yeah, I mean, it's just an analogy. Someone said we can't fear Fed Psy-Ops. I'm not asking people to fear. Bryson tweeted something that's been along the lines of what I've been saying. He said a lot of people, they fear being broke more than they fear God, right? I saw him tweet that and I liked it. A lot of people, they fear being broke more than they fear God. I've said before, people fear society hating on them more than they fear God. You should fear what God thinks of you doing something evil more than you fear what people hate you for being right. Like, oh, the liberals are going to hate me for being right. Like, you should fear God more than you fear the world and how they perceive you. With that being said, I'm not afraid of the feds. I'm not telling people to be afraid of the feds. I'm telling people to be realistic. If you're in a trucker convoy group chat and people are Fed posting and saying shit like, I'm going to do this to the border and I'm going to, if someone comes across the border, I'm going to get them myself, you'll probably end up in prison. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not afraid. It's just like, stay out of Fed. Anybody that Fed posts, make sure you distance yourself from it immediately. Because if they're not a Fed, there's somebody who eventually is probably going to get set up by the feds. I'm not afraid because I follow the law. But when people Fed post or say stupid stuff, like, I know they don't mean it. And in general, I watch people do it on Twitter and YouTube all the time. They Fed post every single day of their entire live stream. They say stuff that they don't really mean to get their audience hyped up so they could fall for another January 6th Fed trap and then fundraise off your demise or whatever they claim they're doing. That's what I think they're doing. But it's like, it's not to be afraid. It's just to be smart. Like, it's like going into like a bad neighborhood. Like, I'm not asking you to be a pussy, but it's like, it's a bad neighborhood, watch your back. Like I've had bad jobs in bad neighborhoods. And it's like, I wasn't afraid, but I knew the danger there, and I was like aware. I wasn't just like obliviously walking on my cell phone. I was walking like I was in a war zone because I pretty much was. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying if the trucker convoy is following the law, then it's following the law. But it's one of those things I just don't understand what the point is. And I felt this with January 6th too. This is my logical breakdown of January 6th, what was going through my head and why I didn't go. I can only explain this to people and hoping that it helps other people understand what goes on in my head. Okay. Why would I fly from California to whatever it was, Washington, D.C., and I have to wear a mask on a plane? This is what was happening during January 6th. You still had to mask up on a plane. Why would hundreds of thousands of people fly all over the country, wear a mask, take it off, march in the streets, take selfies, say, look, Trump, Mike Pence, ha, 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 ha. And then they go home and put their mask back on and fly? Like, to me, the logic of it doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't the protest be everybody not wearing a mask or everybody like not complying to the rules. And also Trump selling Moderna vaccines. Now I don't even trust Trump. Trump, I was already kind of like on the fence because of his COVID stuff, but it's like, that's what I'm saying with the trucker convoy. If it's legal, do whatever you want if you're following the law. But like, what is a trucker convoy going to do for the border? Like, what is it going to do? It's like a self-righteous, like, protest, in my opinion. Like, you're just basically like, look at me. Okay, what for? We like the border. So do I. Okay, now what? What are you going to do? Nothing. And if you do something, you're going to get arrested. So like, what? I don't get it, And like, I just don't understand what it logically does. Like, a trucker convoy made more sense to me if they're not allowing Canadian truckers to go to America. So they say, we're going to go to America and we're going to not do what you say until you let us do our job. Like, what does a trucker convoy and the border have to do? Like, I just don't get it. I'm not hating on it. I'm not telling people not, like, I'm not your, truckers are grown men. They can do what they want to do. I'm just saying, my advice would be follow the law, stay out of group chats. And if you're in a group chat, don't Fed post. You know what I'm saying? You can have edgy opinions. You could have the First Amendment. I'm not asking people to lie, but if you think you're going to take things into your own hands or something, you're going to end up in a Fed trap, in my view. So that's all I'm saying. I don't, what people do is not up to me. I just don't understand it. So Eraser said, all you losers crying about Trump, but I promise you'll vote for him compared to the other side. LOL. Well, that's the guy that thinks I'm jealous of Tim Pool. So you're not the brightest cran in this box, but we will answer that question. The way you're seeing it and the way a lot of us see it, it's just not the same. We understand that Trump versus Biden is, unless they sub out Biden, is going to be the election. But the thing is, you're seeing it like you're a 14-year-old Taylor Swift fan, which is like, ha, 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 ha. You have to vote for my guy and you don't want to, ha, 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 ha. It's very childish. Like you're like a kindergartner. We're like, well, both sides are kind of controlled. Trump's the father of the vaccine. We wish that journalists and people of influence use their leverage to make sure the Republican Party didn't scam us again. You're seeing it like you're like a drooling 5-year-old at a Taylor Swift concert, or like a grown, fat, beer drinking, like Oakland Raiders fan at a Las Vegas Raiders game. I guess they changed things. Nothing wrong with that. I love football. I'm a fan myself. I'm just saying, like, that's how you're seeing politics. Ha ha ha. You're going to end up on my team. Ha ha ha. And then like the next time Republicans scam you again, you're going to be like, whoa, was that Biden who did it? And it's like, no, it's your own people. Whoa. You're going to live in this like constant fandom, false paradigm reality. No one's saying that they're not, like, some people won't vote for Trump, but I'm just saying, like, no, that's not the conversation that we're having. It's like, that's like a low level convo. But someone said, what are you, a Democrat? Like, being sarcastic. Yeah, it's the false paradigm thinking, right? And that's how listen, the elites are very smart. They understand how things work. It's like, you put people on one side, you put people on another side, you split up the races, you make people fight each other, and then they're having all these battles. But no matter if you win or lose the battle, they still win the ultimate battle. That's the game that they're playing. You can win the black versus white battle. You can win the George Floyd versus was he killed battle. You can win the Trump versus Clinton battle. You can win the Trump versus Biden battle. You can win you can say that they don't care because they've already controlled the arena and they're going to win harder than you're ever going to win. And when they want to, they can move these people like nothing, and they'll move. The one that I've used, but I want to explain it even more thorough and better right now, is the Overton window of how they just dominated humanity during COVID. Trump was the vaccine guy, right? He calls himself the father of the vaccine. He gave them $18 billion of socialist money. He printed trillions of dollars. He bought hundreds of millions of Pfizer and Moderna doses, and he wants to take credit for it, right? He's the vaccine guy. He wants to be the vaccine guy more than Fauci. Okay. Biden gets in, and what does Biden do? He pushes it even further. He mandates the vaccine. He says it's going to be a winter of death. Like, he goes full-blown insano psychopath. So now you have, instead of like a normal reality where you're all just walking around and they're not forcing vaccines on you, you live in a reality where one of the puppets went full-blown psychopath mandate psycho, and the other one went socialist funder and buyer of the product. So now MAGA they don't even realize that they've lost the battle no matter what they say, because now they're saying, well, at least he's not Biden. Yeah, but they've moved the whole arena to a point where it never should have got. Well, he didn't mandate it. That's the most tired talking point ever. It's like, yes, this is why I voted for Trump over Biden. Trump didn't mandate it. That's true. I'm not disagreeing with that. But if you look at the fraud and corruption of the pharmaceutical history, it's not just like if you don't mandate a product, there's no corruption. That's not how it works. Not for the swine flu vaccine, not for Bextra, not for Pfizer's criminal history, not for anything, not for the products that they're pulling off the market. Like, there's a huge history of pharmaceutical fraud, corruption, settlements, and billions of dollars of payments and cover-ups, and it's all well documented. It's even been on 60 Minutes. None of them had a mandate. Opioids are not mandated, and the Sackler family got busted, although nothing really happened. And fentanyl is not mandated. Does it not matter that people are dying of fentanyl because it's not mandated? Is China innocent? Are the cartels innocent? Is Big Pharma innocent? No, mandates are only one part of the equation. So you see what I'm saying? People don't even care how in on it Trump is because he just didn't mandate it. So like the elites won. They're crushing MAGA. Like they're laughing at MAGA. MAGA's slobbering over a pharma hedge fund guy and Doug Burnham, like and Tim Scott and the father of the vaccine. You think the elites are scared of MAGA? They're scared of what MAGA could be if MAGA wasn't brainwashed and controlled by them. But like, they have you like herded like sheep. So it's like, that's how they win. They don't win by picking a candidate and just being like, oh, if our candidate loses, we're so screwed. They control finances, media, culture. Like they don't care if you win because you're not really winning. So it's like, even with the vaccine, they moved the Overton window of pharmaceutical corruption and made Biden so crazy. It's good cop, bad cop. To Republicans, Trump is the good cop and Biden's the bad cop. The one cop is mean to you, the one cop is nice to you, but they're both working together and they're going to bust you. That's Biden and Trump. Trump is, for Republicans, the good cop. Oh, he didn't mandate it. He only funded it, pushed it, printed the money, bought the doses, and wants credit for it, but he didn't mandate it. And then you flip it, and Biden, for Democrats, is the good cop. He wants to put more masks on you. He wants to mandate it. He's pushing it harder. And then Trump's the bad cop who, had said some things about alternative medications. They're playing like it's so obvious at this point. But if people can't figure it out, what are you going to do? You notice I'm not like angry right now. I'm done being angry at this stuff because people simply don't get it. And maybe they never will. So this is a stream for people who do get it or want to learn or want to consider, even if they don't fully agree. And, we'll have fun and move on from there. But it is necessary because when everybody's going in the wrong direction, it's like, what do you do? Did people tell Ron Paul to shut up? Like, oh, shut up, Ron Paul. It's Romney or Obama. Well, Ron Paul is now still extremely popular. Why? Because he was 20 years ahead of everybody else. And there's other people that they're getting more popular, even though they're older. G. Edward Griffin is a perfect example. He's 90 years old and he's probably more famous than he's ever been because he told the truth in 1969. He told the truth in 1985. He got interviews with Yuri Bezmenov. Like, it lasts the test of time. I'm trying to make timeless content. I understand that it's going to be misconstrued now, but I'm right. So I don't really care. It's like, other Republicans are not journalists or news analysts. They are professional fangirls. You know what I'm saying? Every account that I follow, they're like, if you follow Taylor Swift fan 475, that's DC Drano. That's typical liberal. I'm not trying to be a dick, but I like both of them as people. But as influencers, they are Taylor Swift Trump fans. That's what they do. It's a fandom. They will post an AI image of Trump wearing a fake cowboy hat at a saloon before they post an article that says that he tried to hire Bill Gates. They'll post a picture of Doug Burnham smiling next to Trump saying these are MAGA superheroes before they point out that Doug Burnham took money from Bill Gates. And if they ever do care that Doug Burnham took money from Bill Gates, they're only going to care that much because if they find out that Trump did the same thing, they'll never report on it. So it's like, they're not real journalists. They're not real news analysts. They're not real patriots. They're not real objective Americans. They're basically just Taylor Swift fans for Republicans. And that's why this is going to fall apart at a certain point, whether Trump wins or loses. I want Trump to win. I don't see it happening though. I think he's going to lose bad. I think people are their head is so far up Trump's ass that they don't understand what everyone else thinks. And, it sucks because this is such an easy election to win. The border's wide open. Everybody's tired of liberals. Like all we needed was somebody that wasn't super annoying and super already like branded in a bad way, and we probably could have won the election by like 10 points. But like, I even listened to Joe Rogan and Bobby Lee. Bobby Lee was like, I'm in the middle now. People like Bobby Lee, they don't like liberals. They know they're crazy and they're like looking for an off ramp. I mean, maybe he'll even vote for Trump, but it's like they're looking for an off ramp. Like the left is crazy. I also don't really like the right that much. Like, just give me an off ramp and I'll vote for it. And then it's like, you're going to give them 78-year-old Trump spiraling on True Social every day, complaining about his only good employees. Like, why strategically, how does it help that Trump is crying about Kayleigh McEnany, who's a beautiful, blonde, intelligent lady who's way smarter than anybody he's surrounded by now, who actually did her job good. I think she's the only employee that I was impressed by, Kayleigh McEnany. And she's literally saying, like, hey, Trump won New Hampshire, which is great. But, for the general, like, he's got to think about independence. That's all she said. And he's like, oh, she sucks. She's not a star. Dude, Trump's like a psycho idiot, like he's such an idiot. How is that? Like, I know people that like Trump that are like, why is he doing that? Like, I like Kayleigh too. Like, she was his only good employee. Like, she's just trying to like say basic general election strategy. And he's like spiraling at her. Why? How is that going to win a general? I don't understand. But, it's going to be a close election. And I just think whether Trump wins or loses, this party is going to fall apart. Like, you can't have a fake opposition movement built on worshiping a foreign country, passing speech laws for a foreign country, propping up Bill Gates politicians. Like, it's not sustainable. And I know everybody, they don't want to let it end. It's like a Taylor Swift concert that they don't want to let end. Like the Trump movement, it gave meaning to their life. Like, they don't want this. They don't want it to end, but it's like it's going to end eventually. And it's going to be a rude ending if people don't snap out of it and at least just be a little more honest. And all you have to do is like look at influencers and just see, like, are they at Mar-a-Lago? Are they hanging out on a beach? I love beaches. I don't care what people do, but it's like I see Benny Johnson and Vivek on a beach. I see this person at Mar-a-Lago with Lara Trump. And it's like, this is what it's a big hangout, and that's fine. But it's like, once you hang out with the family, you're not doing journalism anymore. Once you're beach buddies with the guy, you're not doing real interviews anymore. So it's like, people like Vivek and Trump are highly intelligent and they know that it's easy to basically capture journalists by just hanging out with them and being nice to them. All you have to do is flatter them, and then vice versa. Trump gets flattered by Gavin Newsom or one of these deep state people that he hires, and he's like, oh, they're so nice to me. Like, everyone knows how politics works. It's just like networking. So it's like, be friends with somebody and then they'll never question you. And I get it. It's like, I'm not asking people to be dicks or anything, but if you're a billionaire running for office and you said you cried on January 6th and you used to work for hedge funds and pharmaceutical companies, I'm not asking you to hate the person or be jealous. It's just like, give a real interview to somebody that wasn't MAGA from 2016 to 2022. He wasn't MAGA until a year ago. Is that too much to ask for? It like, I'm not saying people can't change, but I'd rather somebody like Thomas Massey that has proven to be constitutional for 20 years lead the party than a hedge fund farmer bro who just became MAGA like a year ago. It doesn't make any sense, but people aren't thinking in terms of reality. They're like, it's just a big hangout for the fans. It's fandom. He's Batman. He's Superman. I mean, yeah, he might be that, but in my head, he's Taylor Swift. And then for the people in my industry, it's a hangout. It's basically like, I'm looking at pictures of people because I've been in this industry. And I'm not naming names because I'm not a hateful person. I do respect people's friendship. And to be honest, I'm not a snake. I'm a nice guy. But I've seen people that literally told me not to say certain things, hanging out with other people at Mar-a-Lago. I could see how the whole thing works. And like I said, I'm not naming names because I respect these people. I do consider some of them friends, but at the end of the day, like, I'm not for sale and I'm not going to go against my own values just to hang out at a pool. I got my own money. I got my own life. I can hang out at a pool anytime I want. I don't need your pool and I don't need your steaks. I'll buy my own steaks. But in general, it's like, you think I'm just being like hateful or crazy, but it's like, I'm watching people that have literally told me, don't say that, or we can't be friends, or don't have the right opinion about that, or you're basically cut off from this. And I'm seeing them hanging out with people at events, like right over their shoulder. Like, I know how the whole thing works. It's like, if you play ball, you come in. But once you come in, you can't do analysis or journalism. You have to basically just kiss the ring and become a professional Taylor Swift worshiper. Take Kayleigh McEnany for an example. I mean, this is the perfect example. Listen, Kayleigh McEnany is pretty, right? She is one of the only stars from the Trump administration. Who's a star? Bill Barr or Christopher Wray? No, Kayleigh McEnany was the star of Trump's administration, or at least top 5. She's smart, she's conservative, and she's just not a yes man. So because she's not a yes man to Trump and she says things that challenge him, he's thrown her under the bus. Everybody sees this around. Like, it's not about being smart or good at your job. She's the only one. Like, she's literally the only person I could look at in this whole administration and be like, she was a standout at her job. Her job was to make Trump look good and, parrot his talking points and have her little book. And she did it extremely intelligently. I mean, she makes Karine Jean-Pierre look like a nothing. She was good at her job. But she's excommunicated now because she doesn't kiss the ring. You challenge Trump in any way, you do your job in any way, you're dead to him. He's looking for worshipers. He's looking for Taylor Swift fans. So, this is why everybody that works for him sucks, because he doesn't like talented people. He likes grifters and liars and frauds and compromised people. And it's like, that's what you're going to get. So, I think people have two routes to go. They're like, either I say what I really think and try to do the best of my ability, and then I lose all the sponsors, all the money, it really is that serious. Like, I don't talk about my finances that much. I don't talk about like struggling or whatever, but because it's like, it is what it is. I'm fine. But I get messages from people that run ads for like other people, and they're like, dude, everybody wishes they could say what you say. I was like, what do you mean? They're like, they don't want to lose their job. They have a family, they have kids. They don't, if they said what you said, they're going to lose these 3 sponsors, I'm sure of it, and then they couldn't feed their family. Me, I'm like Bryson Gray in the sense of like, I fear God more than I fear being broke. I understand it's easier when you don't have a wife and kids, etc., but I'm still not built that way. I would never cave my values for money. And that's the problem with this world, is you got so many people that are more afraid of Trump supporters, or they're more afraid of liberals, or they're more afraid of the media, or they're more afraid of, whoever. Like, their fear is of worldly things. Their fear is of being honest and being persecuted for it. You should fear, especially as a Christian, you should fear God more than you fear this stuff. Is it scary to lose your money? Absolutely. But it's more scary to be evil, and I'm not saying everybody's perfect, but it's like, to me, it would be scarier to be a liar. Like, it would be scarier to be caught somewhere, like with a pronoun on my bio, like freaking out that they're going to fire me, or at Mar-a-Lago eating a steak, knowing I can never say what I really think or I'm kicked out. Like, that's scarier to me, but like, everyone knows that. And people think that it's not happening. It is happening. Trump is the cash cow. I don't want to name names, but look at who talks at Turning Point. Look at who's on the podcast circuit. It's all like hush hush. We're all boys. You hang out with Vivek, I hang out with Vivek. We go on a beach, you go on a beach. Like, it's like, we go on, we'll hang out here, you'll hang out here. If you give an interview, a real interview, to any of these people, you're gone. So they all, like Tim Pool, he's not a centrist. He's like the biggest bootlicker out there. It's just like, and Candace is one person who challenged it a little bit. And you could watch it. She said it publicly. I'm not spilling any secrets. If you watch the podcast I had with Candace, she gave an interview to Donald Trump where she asked some of the only good questions that anyone has asked. Her and Megyn Kelly gave Trump the only semi-decent interviews I've ever seen. And I wasn't even like super, super impressed with Megyn Kelly's and stuff, but it was better than everyone else's. But in general, it's like, Candace said, why didn't you pardon Julian Assange? Which is a great question. And then she also pushed back a very, very little bit about the vaccine, not even that much. And then she tried to make excuses for Trump because he said like it was the greatest medical achievement of mankind or something stupid like that. And she was trying to like bail him out because he looked like an idiot. And, he basically like got pissed at her, like that's who Trump is. If you ask him a question, he hates you. He didn't like Candace after that. He doesn't like Kayleigh McEnany. Like, he wants people to lick his boots. And that world is going to collapse eventually, because it's like, if they lose this election, it's not going to be just because they stole it. It's going to be because people don't like him as much as his biggest fans like him. And he's not even trying to campaign. And when you try to like suggest certain things, he cuts you off. He wants someone there that doesn't question him. It's like, that's what's going on. And in the podcast circuit, it's like these people are easily lobbied. They're lobbied by money, power, social circles, and connections. And that's the game that's being played. And I could just see it happening in real time. It's like, okay, once those people do that, they're just friends now, like they're not gonna. But here's my only issue. Well, I have a lot of issues with it. Even if I'm friends with somebody, it's still okay to debate ideas. Like you listen to, I don't want to name names, but I could think of like 6 or 7 of the top, Trump slob knobbing podcasters, and they all sound the same. They have the same ideas, the same talking points, the same things. They have the same conversations, and it's all the same. I've been on a pilot before for a media. They didn't hire me, clearly, but I've been on a pilot where everyone said the same thing. It was about veterans. Same thing, same thing, same thing, same thing, same thing, right? And I come in and I was like, they're all wrong. It's hard to say you're all wrong, but they were. And then I said something that made way more sense. And you know what all of them did? They all agreed with me. You get what I'm saying? Like, these people can't debate me because I'm not wrong. They just don't want me around because I make them look fake and stupid, because they are fake and stupid. So it's like they all say the same stupid, slobby Fox News generic talking point with no critical thinking skills. I say something more intelligent and they all say, yeah, no, that's actually true. I didn't think of that. And it's like, I know you didn't think of that because none of you are thinking. You're not thinking. You don't think I could go on any one of these podcasts and break the echo chamber? You think they're going to be able to out debate me? No, they're probably just going to say, you're right, and then feel stupid about themselves. And then everybody watching the podcast is going to know that they're not as honest as me, and it's going to make them look bad. So they don't want me around. It's like they can't out debate. It's not like they look at what I'm saying like, oh, he's so wrong. They're like, no, he's right. Like, he's right. And I can't afford to be right now because being right's bad for business. So I'd rather just be half right and, play my role. Like, they're all just playing a role. It is what it is. It's just like, that's the game that's being played in right. They're all milking the Trump economy, and they don't want to think critically. They all just say the same things, and they all believe the same things, and they don't stand up to like a 4-minute scrutiny report. Like, when people were saying about the vaccine, they were like, they'd be like, well, he's doing it for this reason and that reason. It's them making excuses for Trump because they like Trump and they don't want to believe that he thinks that way, right? It's like, the truth is Trump just doesn't agree with his base on that. He's not the same, right? But people don't want to believe that. So they make up these and they all say it in unison. They're like, if he didn't rush the vaccine, then, they would have done this. And it doesn't make any sense. Rushing the vaccine helps the pharmaceutical industry. Rushing the vaccine is shielded by an emergency clause, so they have no liability. It's a liability shield. Rushing the vaccine made record profits for Pfizer. Like, rushing the vaccine in every way, shape, and form was pro-government and pro-pharmaceutical. It's not even funny. But because all these MAGA Trump supporting influencers say that he rushed it to save the world from lockdowns, they all believe their own. They're like eating their own shit, and they think it tastes like chocolate. And I'm here to be like, no, it doesn't actually make any sense. And the only reason you're saying that is because you like him. If another politician did it, you'd never make up that hallucinating excuse because it doesn't even make sense. If it would have taken 5 years to come out, they would have never, it never would have even been a hit. Like, people would have been over it. They couldn't have kept people locked down for 4 years. And the vaccine itself did not free people. It didn't stop a lockdown. It's like, none of it makes any sense. Like, that's the right wing now. It's like a cosplay fantasy mentally ill movement where everyone just says the same wrong thing in unison. And it's the same as the left. It's like two cults just fighting with each other. So, may the best cult win, I guess. But for some people, they see through it, and it's like a very weird experience. John said, I'm focusing on directing my people to make better decisions to help this world. It's a good idea. That sounds nice. Someone says they're playing a role in the super stupid script. But here's the thing is, like, I don't think that all of them don't know this stuff. Knowing it gets you in trouble, right? Like, if you go, say, like with Candace, she pushed back against Trump a little bit. and she got kind of in trouble for it. She pushes back against Zionism a little bit, and she gets in trouble for it. Everybody knows this, guys. If you go against Trump, you're in trouble. If you question Zionism, you're in trouble, because Zionism is the main architect of the Republican Party. It's the number one thing that matters to them. It has nothing to do with you or the Constitution. That's just what they tell you. It's Zionism. That's, all of this stuff. I'm just being honest. You might support it. You might have questions, but like, it doesn't matter. That's what it is. Everyone knows this. They're not stupid. It's just like, look, Candace had that Finkelstein guy on, and her life got a lot harder in that world, but I don't think she particularly cares. You don't think all these other influencers know that? You don't think Tim Pool knows? Everybody knows it. It's not worth it. It's not good for business. It's not good for, social circles. Like, you think that these people could run their business if they said these things? No, their business is like, they'd have to downsize, or they'd have to find a different way to make money, because they wouldn't be able to get these sponsors and get booked at these places. And, like, it's all over at that point for these people. So I know that everybody that watches thinks that like everyone just doesn't really know, and they're all repeating these same things because, they just think these things. Like, part of it is that, but part of it's also like, it's like being a liberal at a liberal organization. How many liberals know that transgender sports is insane? Probably a lot of them, but how many of them will say it? None. Why? Because now their life gets harder. They purposely remain ignorant, because knowing too much means that now you have to say something, and now if you say something, you're in trouble and you look like you're right wing. Like, I've talked to people where I'm like, explaining the gender stuff and be like, for the kids, it's kind of crazy, and they're doing it in the schools, and it's too much in the sports. And it's like, do I think they don't know what I'm talking about? How could you not know? It's like basic biology and human nature, but they pretend like they don't know. Like, these are high IQ people that have doctorates and stuff. Like, because going, means now I don't have to take an actual opinion about it. And I get to play the fence and not look crazy to my constituents. I understand it. It's just like, it's extra cringy, I think, on the right, because everybody's made a living like, I'm the truth. I'm not afraid to say things. And it's like, yes, you are. I'll tell the truth. No, you won't. You know that. But I think they tell themselves, I'm better than the left, so at least I'm doing that, and I'm fighting for certain things that I care about. But it's Taylor Swift. Trump is the Taylor Swift of the right, and his fans are Swifties. They're crazier than Swifties. It's like a big hangout. Someone said 15 days to scare people. It's a crazy time. The interesting part about this next Super Bowl is it's the same teams that played in 2020. And everyone's like, Trump versus Biden, 2020, 2024. Kansas City versus 49ers, 2020, 2024. I just hope they don't lock the country down in March, because that would suck. Someone said they're not voting Trump. They're voting for Fauci to come back. Everybody just pretends like Trump's learned his lesson because they want Trump to learn his lesson, right? He's learned his lesson. Why? Because I want him to. He's this person. Why? Because I want him to be. It's like it's a fantasy movement. So it's like, who's he going to hire? Doug Burgum? Who's he like? He's going to do a slightly better job than Biden, possibly, and maybe start a war with Iran. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what people expect or if people care. I'm just trying to live in my own life and enjoy myself, because I'm tired of trying to figure out what people are thinking, because it just makes me dumber at a certain point. So it's like, yeah, I don't think he's, why would he learn a lesson? Like, who's he going to hire for FDA and HHS? That'll determine everything. Like, is he going to hire the same people? He doesn't have to not. Nobody cares. Like, it's very odd. Let me see. Someone said, now the world wants everyone's minds. It's not worth selling your soul to Satan. For sure. Someone said, if he does something good, he's draining the swamp. If he does something bad, he's playing 5D chess. Yeah, it's like a mental illness at this point. And that's preventing people from actually like fixing it. People are like, what's the solution? It's like, just stop lying to yourself. It's really that easy. Like, stop lying. It's not that hard to do, but people don't want to stop lying. They think lying to themselves and believing in party politics more is going to fix the problem, which is psychotic because it hasn't worked in 30 years. It's like, when Ron Paul's like, "Hey, both parties are working for the feds," and people are like, "Oh, shut up, Ron Paul. What are you trying to say? The Republicans aren't going to beat the Democrats?" It's like it's so weird. And like Ron Paul's just sitting there. He's like, "No, that's just literally what's happening. I thought maybe you'd want to know." They hate you for just saying something that shatters the Taylor Swift cultism of party politics. It's so bizarre. And then they spiral at you and say, "What's the solution?" As if you didn't just tell them the solution. So what are you saying? I'm saying what I just said. So how do we fix it? By not lying to yourself. But I want to lie to myself. Then lie to yourself. I don't know. Like, what the hell? Do I believe Biden will be the candidate for the Dems or someone else? I'm not really sure. On one hand, it seems that way. On another hand, he's 81 years old. So if they purposely elevated Trump and they pull Biden out for someone else, dude, they're going to beat Trump by like 10 points. I mean, that's real chess. Elevate Trump above people who beat Biden. You know what I'm saying? Get him elected with all this like fake arrest stuff. Get him in and then sub out Biden. I hope they don't because Biden's beatable. But if they sub out Biden, Trump is going to get smoked. How's he going to win a general? He's yelling at his only good employees for telling him to win a general. Kayleigh McEnany, he's like, "Congratulations on New Hampshire, but for the main election, we got to start thinking this way if we want to win." And Trump's like, shut up, Kayleigh. You're ugly. You were never a star. You're a rhino. I hired the rhinos. Nikki Haley, I hired her too. And it's like, why? How is that? Like, can this guy talk about the economy? The border's wide open. Everybody's tired of liberals. Just don't be insane and give people an off ramp and they'll go with you. Just give people an off ramp. Bobby Lee is even tired of liberals. Bobby Lee's like a generic, normie, like, celebrity who's probably been liberal his whole life. He's like, "I'm tired of it." Everyone's tired of it. They just need an off ramp. Like, like a Joe Rogan or like a Ron DeSantis or somebody that was like an off-ramp, or Elon. I'm not saying like who they are. I'm just saying like someone that has conservative values like Trump, but isn't Trump. Like, that's all you needed to win the election. But MAGA sloppers want Trump. It's like they're addicted to losing. They want to elect Trump. They want him to yell at Kayleigh McEnany. They want him to like spiral on True Social every day about things that don't matter. They want him to hire Nikki Haley, then cry about it, then hire John Bolton, then cry about it, then hire Christopher Wray and cry about it, and take no accountability and sell vaccines and, trip over his own feet and say the election was stolen and set people up at a Fed trap and then raise money off the Fed trap. Like, I don't know. It's like MAGA has like Stockholm syndrome with Trump. They bought into the Taylor Swift, like fandom of him. And it's like, they want him to get revenge. And it's like, hopefully, I mean, if he loses, like, people got to stop crying about the election. Like, Trump is not a candidate that people want to vote for. And I think they're going to find out. I mean, if he can just shut up about Kayleigh McEnany and literally just every day be like, "Hey, the left has gone insane. We're more normal." But here's the problem. The left is crazy. Everybody knows the left is crazy. I've talked about it since 2016. The left is nuts. Everyone knows it. Like 90% of the country, they might not like me or Biden, or Trump or anyone, but they know the left is insane. Like, everyone knows it. So literally all you have to do is act not insane, and you're going to get these voters who are like, "Yo, the left is crazy." But when, like, I voted for Trump, I made a Trump song. I liked him a lot. Trump supporters are crazy. Like, not all of them, obviously, but like Trump worshipers are insane. They're like posting pictures of him with Pharma Bros, like fantasizing like it's Batman, and posting like AI images like in their head. Like, they're like, "Oh, pow, pow, Trump's a sheriff." It's like, you're nuts. You're crazier than a Taylor Swift fan. Like, you're just as crazy as a left winger. So it's like picking the crazy guy who has the crazy supporters to show that you're not as crazy as the left. The election's going to be a coin flip. All you had to do is not do that, and you could have won. Like, it's weird, and people don't realize how weird it is, because if you go to Turning Point, it's like a stick your head up Trump's behind and raise money off the guy, and everyone acts like sycophants, and like 90% of the country is looking at like Trump and his worshipers, and they're like, "These people are crazy." And then they look over at Biden and they're like, he's also crazy. And then they're looking at liberals and they're like, they're crazy. And then you're like, oh, well, Trump is like more normal. And then he's like shitting on his only good hiree because she said the truth that he didn't want to hear. And he's saying Florida would be fine under a Democrat. Like, it's like, dude, he's like an agent of chaos. Like all he has to do is talk about the border, talk about the economy, and talk about how crazy the left has gone. And he could pick up like most independents. Like everyone knows how bad the left is. Everyone knows that Biden's old. It's just you picked the one guy that could lose to Biden. And I'm telling you, they purposely elevated Trump because they know that he's the one guy who could lose to Biden. And they're admitting publicly that they wanted Trump to win the election. Trump wasn't going to win without the Alvin Bragg arrest. It was going to be a close election. The Alvin Bragg arrest sealed the deal. I watched the polls overnight go 50% swing for Trump away from DeSantis because people wanted a villain arc or whatever, a hero arc. It's like, dude, the Democrats are really smart. That's why a lot of these business people, I mean, a lot of them are evil, but they're pattern recognizers. They're highly analytical people. They have companies that run off artificial intelligence. Most of them understand, one, just play both sides. Like you see the bankers saying Trump and Biden, like they know that they're going to get in either way, so they don't care. But also, I think a lot of people think that over time, Democrats are just going to win based on demographic shifts. So they're like, yeah, they're lying about everything, but it's clear that like this movement's going to die out in like 10 years, and this movement's going to win elections by 60%. It's why Texas is going blue. It's why every city is blue. Like, why were cities red before and now they're blue? What are the demographics of the cities? When the demographics change, the politics change. Look at Little Somalia and Dearborn, Michigan. It's like, or wherever it is. It's like, it's like an Islamic city now because Islamic people live there. And in many ways, I think that's better than a liberal city because like Islam at least fears God and isn't like doing weird stuff to kids. And liberals do that. So it's like, I don't even care that it's Islamic. I'm just saying, it's just like, that's how the world works. Like people, it'll shift with the people. So I think Democrats are playing like demographic chess, and Republicans are like Taylor Swift lunatics around Donald Trump. It's so weird. I'm like, why are you doing this? This is like an easy election. Like it's like the last election that you could probably ever win. And you're running around a controlled opposition vaccine salesman, fantasizing about like pharmaceutical hedge fund guys and like billionaire, like, Gates backed guys. It like, this is not the movement I joined in 2017. Everyone can act like I changed. Like we weren't doing this in 2017. We weren't doing this in 2018. We weren't doing this in 2019. Trump wasn't selling vaccines, and we weren't slobbering over like hedge fund pharma bros. Like that wasn't happening. Like this movement has been totally co-opted, has been totally like sheep herded, and no one even realizes. They think that Vivek is like Robin and Trump is Batman. They're literally like grown men that are like as insane as, they're crazier than Taylor Swift fans over hedge fund pharma bros who cried on January 6th. It's like, January 6th was this, but he cried, but he didn't mean to cry because he learned his lesson, and he wasn't really here for the last 6 years when we needed him, but now he's here and he says all the things I want to hear. And, talking about things matters more than the guy who actually did them in Florida. And I mean, that makes sense because he's not loyal. And Kayleigh McEnany's my favorite, but now she's a rhino because she told the truth to Trump. It's like, you guys are crazy. It's like, this little MAGA slot party is going to end eventually, whether he wins or loses. Like, I just hope it's not a rude awakening because I have to live in this country too. I want the border closed. And, I think Trump handles foreign policy better. But I also think Trump is compromised. And I think that he'll probably start a war in Iran because, just like everyone, Trump is, controlled by something that you're not allowed to say. And they figured out the only person in Congress who's not controlled that way. And they're trying to kick him out. Like the whole MAGA movement at this point is controlled opposition. But if people want, a fantasy cosplay hangout, then you got one. Like it's like people dress up as like Harley Quinn, and you're pretending to be patriots running around pharmaceutical people and thinking that it's going to save the world. Like you're losing your mind, and no one's telling you that, but you can do it. But one day you'll wake up and realize it and be like, damn, that anomaly guy was kind of right. I didn't see it because no one told me that. And it's like, I'm playing the long game here. Someone said AOC and Omar are going to import 100 million Africans when Democrats have the numbers to never lose again. That could happen. I mean, 100 million is a lot, but they're already kind of doing that to a lesser extent, you know? Like people aren't just coming from like Mexico and stuff. They're coming from all over the place and they're giving them stuff. Here's a funny thing too that I saw that I was like, yo, socialism does actually get votes cuz you know all these rappers now, I saw like Snoop Dogg's cool with Trump now. I think it was Rick Ross was talking good about Trump. All these rappers, and the one thing that they're all saying, not Snoop Dogg, but I saw like 3 different mainstream rappers say this about Trump and rapping about it. Also, I've actually heard it 4 times. They loved the stimulus checks. That's why they like Trump now. Not saying everybody, but I've heard it 4 different times from mainstream rappers. They said Trump's the man because he gave us stimulus. We were eating in 2020. So socialism really does work to get votes. Like that was the reason that the economy's so bad. The reason that inflation hit is because Trump and Biden and the Federal Reserve and both parties printed too much money. So like those stimulus checks are the reason that the economy is failing right now and everybody's broke. But in the heads of rappers, that was dope because Trump gave us all free money. Like they like free money, I guess, even though they're rich or their friends wanted it. I don't know. But like, it's so funny that that's probably the one thing that Trump did that destroyed the economy. And that's what Black America likes in the rap world. Not everybody. I'm not trying to stereotype. I'm just saying, like, I've heard it like that's like they're like Trump's the man. Stimulus had us eating. Stimulus. It's like, so that's why Democrats do socialism because they're just buying their votes. Like, here, you want to come from Haiti? Here's money. Here's a house. Vote for us. Oh, you want to come from Mexico? Oh, those big bad Republicans want to close the border, but we'll let you work for us here. You know, and they're just buying votes. They're buying. So Trump actually got votes from the stimulus check, which is hilarious because it's probably my least favorite thing that he did, but that's the most favorite thing among a lot of mainstream rappers. It's like that's why the Democrats do that. They know that they're stealing your money. They know the deficits in different racial groups and they know who it's helping and who it's hurting. They don't care. They're literally like you can't say they're replacing you, but it's literally like we'll lose those people, we'll steal their money and we'll give it to these people and they'll vote for us. And over time they're having more kids and we're just importing more people. It's like literally what they're doing, and they're admitting they're doing it constantly. But they don't want you to say that they're doing it, but everyone knows now that they are doing it. And 4 years ago, it was really hard to say. Now everyone says it. Tucker Carlson says it. Vivek says it. Everyone. It's a mainstream talking point. So, what is extreme and crazy is literally mainstream 4 years later. Like anybody that's ahead of the curve looks insane, and then Vivek and Tucker Carlson say it like later. You know. It's like, and I'm not mad that they're saying it. I'm like, I get why people like them. You know, I'm not. It's just wild. It's like an interesting dynamic. I'm like, okay, so stimulus checks make people like Trump, not anything else he did. Interesting. Someone said you're totally grasping. It's funny. Someone said I'm totally grasping, and someone else said the last 4 minutes you put it all in a nutshell. That's perception and perspective. One person says that last 4 minutes you put everything in a nutshell, summed it up perfectly. One person says you're grasping. Which one is it? Did I put it all in a nutshell, or am I grasping at straws? It's up to you, my friends. This is a R.L. Stine choose your own adventure goosebumps. Someone said you ain't black, Joe Biden. Come on, man. You ain't black. If you ain't vote for me, I put my helmet on backwards and they fact check you for being right. And I was at the pool with the roaches and I was letting the kids rub on the hairs and, just normal Jack stuff like that. Jack, you ain't black. If you ain't vote for Jack Black, Jack Black votes for me. I hope. I like Jack Black. School of Rock, huh? You ain't black, Jack. Excuse me, Joe Biden. What was that? That's not a good impression, but it's kind of funny. I saw like the helmet thing. He was like, I'm a worker just like you. And it's like, all right, okay, dude. He's like, come on, Jack. He's like, we're just out here doing construction. It's like, bro, we get it. Like politicians are so funny. Like, I don't think I could ever do that. Like I've done hard labor before and it's not easy. I would just feel like such a scumbag, like going to like a hard labor place and just like putting on a construction hat and be like, hey, and then just leaving and be like, all right, go get that forklift. I'm out. Like, I don't think that's why I could never be a politician. I'd be like, No, I'm not working, you're working. Like, I appreciate you guys for doing it. I've done like stuff in the past. I've done farming. I've done, overnight grocery stocking. I've done a lot of like tough jobs, and I don't want to go back, to be honest. And like I would just feel like weird taking credit for like what hardworking men were doing. I'm like, hey, we're all kind of the same here. I got a hat on, you got a hat on. We're both doing construction, and they're like, no, you're gonna be here for 20 minutes for a photo op, and then I'm gonna do all the work that you're pretending to do. It's like, yeah, that's the point. It's politics. You're just trying to make people think you're just like them. That's like everyone does that. Trump does that. Vivek does that. Like I get it. It's just kind of like funny if you think about it. They're like, yeah, I'm just like you for 20 minutes and a photograph. And then I'm not just like you. I'm going to go back on my jet and eat a steak. But it's like, can we get a steak? You're like, no, you're getting pizza, the cheapest thing you could possibly buy someone, that you buy for a group of like, 30 kids, when you're trying to only spend $30 on $100 worth of food. Like, you get pizza, and in exchange, I'll wear a construction hat for 20 minutes. Then I'm going to go back on my private helicopter or jet and eat steaks, but you're going to eat the cheapest pizza I can find. And then my supporters online are going to like go nuts over it, acting like I did some sort of grave service when it was obviously just a photo op. It's like, that's politics. It's pretty funny. Someone said Biden is so cringy, you can feel him sniffing on you. I could feel him sniffing on me when I sleep. I'm voting for Trump because when I go to bed, even though Biden's in Washington, D.C., or in some random Pennsylvania construction house that he doesn't work in, I could just, every day he's in office, you could just feel him breathing, sniffing down your neck with the price of eggs going up, sniffing. That would be a good ad. Here's an ad for the Trump campaign. Here's an idea. Every day you go to sleep. It doesn't matter if you're in Georgia, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Iowa, or any of the swing states that we obviously want to win more than other states. I know you can feel Joe Biden breathing down your neck, sniffing your bank account. Eggs up, gas up, groceries up, toilet paper up, diapers for your kids up, everything's going up. And Biden's just sniffing. When you go to bed in that swing state that I desperately need to win, or else Biden's going to be president again, you could just feel him breathing down the back of your neck, sniffing. Vote for Trump. We'll give him the napkin he's needed to stop breathing down everyone's neck all the time. It's like, this this ad was paid for by the Trump administration. You watch that, you're like, what the? You're like, what was that ad? Like, I guarantee, like, it would inspire people not even to vote. They'd be like, I don't even want to watch TV anymore. I'm not voting for either of these guys. I'm just really confused what that was. Just got like a superimposed Biden just like sniffing, like a Pennsylvania like family sleeping. They got like a construction hat in bed, and he's just like, it's like, the opacity's down to like 50%, so it's just like Biden sniffing like, there's something there. Actually, scratch that idea. Let's pretend like it never happened. Someone said left versus right is like double dong with two heads. What do I think about Carrie Lake? I mean, she's a good like Trump. She's a good like Trump impersonator for sure. She's like Trump's little sidekick or whatever. She's good to like make money in MAGA, definitely. She's like got a good like character to her. Me personally, I don't listen to a word she says, but I think she's like, Trump. She's a good Trump fan. She's like the biggest Trump fan, and she gets to make a living off just being, Trump's personal fangirl or whatever. So I don't know. I've seen some good content from her, but I'm not the demographic for that. What do I think about Woo's news? I don't know. People keep asking me about that, but I don't know what it is. Am I supposed to know? She raised her stock price significantly. Yeah. Oh, she's crushing her brand. Like if I was her agent or something, I'd be like crushing. She went from like to like she'll get a lot of money, and speaking gigs and stuff. I I do see the similarities between her and like Stacey Abrams. I think she's like the right wing Stacey Abrams. She's like made a living off of like losing elections, um, and just saying like what Trump says. Basically, there's a niche market for that. It's just I don't know. I think a lot of it is more like self-serving than it is like helpful to any of the movement or anything. But it's funny because it's like once you realize what people want, like I don't know, politics is just funny to me. Like I'll see a video go viral and it's Carrie Lake just like milking a cow, and she's like, there's only two genders, and it's like that's like all you have to do to impress right wingers. Like I'm not. It's funny, but it's just like, do you think she milks cows all the time? You think Carrie Lake, the radio host from Arizona, is like? I'm not saying she's never milked a cow. Um, I've milked a cow before, but like if you see me milking a cow saying there's only two genders, it's not like are organic. I've milked cows. I've literally lived on a farm before. I don't like milking cows. It's not something I did all the time or anything, but like I've done it. If you see me milking cows and being like, there's only two genders, you liberal journalist, like that's all staged. Like you don't say there's only two genders while milking a cow with liberal journalists watching you milk a cow. Why are there liberal journalists there when Carrie Lake's milking a cow? Like this stuff is all set up, and that's all you need to do to like impress Republicans. She's like, oh, based, and it's like, Vivek tweeted on Iowa, he's like, there's only two genders. Vote for me. And it's like it's like these people are like mocking us. It's like there's only two genders. It's like, yeah, and vote for me. Okay. Like, it's like I could, part of me wants to run as a Democrat and just pull off this Andy Kaufman moment. I just thought of it the other day. Like, imagine if I think I'm too well known now to like actually pull this off, but like, say you weren't well known and you were a Republican. You run as a Democrat, you learn all their talking points, you act like them, you win an election, you get in office, and as soon as you're there, you get up and your first statement is, listen, I'm actually a conservative. I completely disagree with liberal and progressive values. I'm a Christian conservative patriot, and I'm either going to govern that way, I tricked you, or I'm just going to leave office, and this has been an Andy Kaufman moment. You could replace me with a Democrat. I just wanted to show you guys how easy it would be to trick you. Like, I wish I could do that, but I think I'm a little too well known to pull it off. I just think it would be funny because, like, I could run as a Democrat. It's just like, abortion rights are human rights, like it's that easy. Like you just be like, abortion rights are human rights. The right is racist. Trump is a fascist, and Ron DeSantis is a dictator, and they all work for Putin. It's not hard to like trick both sides because both sides are so easy to trick. It's like they're not. It's like you just milk a cow and say there's only two genders, and you're like the most. You could literally be a hedge fund guy turned pharmaceutical CEO that cried on January 6th, and you can literally be the second most popular person in the Republican Party. Like, it's too easy. So I don't know. I would love to do that as like a Democrat and then be like, anyway, toodaloo, and then I just disappear and people are like, what the hell was that? It's like a real like, moment within a moment. But yeah, like I'm not saying that like everyone's lying. It's just like Carrie Lake is I just think she's like doing a great job for her brand. As far as what she's doing for the party, like I don't think she's doing anything. I think she's doing a lot for Trump, but I don't see it. Anam, did I see Tim Stool's new music video trying to be like The Weeknd? The cringe hurts so bad. Nah, I haven't, but I've seen one of his music videos. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So listen, I'm not going to hate. He's out here doing music. That's good. Everybody having fun. I'm not going to just hate on his songs and stuff. I'm not super petty, but let him play his guitar, skate his little skateboard. Like, let the guy have some fun out here. I just, but I'll try to check it out. To be honest, I did a whole review on the Tom McDonald song. I didn't even listen to it. People were like, "Oh, why are you?" I'm like, I'm talking about the marketing of it because I don't want to seem like a hater since I also rap. I'm not like a rap analyst or anything, but yeah, I thought the marketing was good, but yeah, I'm not putting it on my playlist. I don't want to hear Ben Shapiro rap with Tom McDonald. Like it's just not gonna be fun for me. So I just don't listen. It's like there's only two genders. Yeah, there's only two genders. Yeah, facts don't care about your feelings. Yeah, give me money, boomers. I mean, it's just funny. Like you could make the greatest song of time, and people were like, whatever. And then you're just like, let's go, Brandon. Boycott Target. There's only two genders, and then it like blows up. And I'm not like it is what it is. I'm not hating on it. It's just like in order to get something moving in this moment, there's got to be a gimmick to it. There's got to be like an angle. There's got to be something that people can share. I'm more interested in studying it than hating on it, because then you could always learn. And also, I don't think doing a gimmick is bad if you have good intentions and you do it like ethically. There's nothing wrong with that. So he said he was vaxxed in the rap. Ew, who did? Who said he's vaxxed? Here, I'll look at the lyrics now. Tom or Ben? Did Ben Shapiro's like, I'm vaccinated. Yeah. Start a war for Israel. Yeah. Then I'll call you anti-Semitic. Yeah. Yeah. Facts don't care about you. You're like, yo, this song is crazy. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Did he really say he was vaccinated in the song? Please tell me it's not true. I mean, I'm going to just read the lyrics now. Let me see. There's only two genders. I'm white. Let me see. Are you guys lying to me? Let me see. I'm just going to search vaccine. No, I don't think he rapped about being vaccinated, did he? You guys tricking me? Let me see. Yeah, I don't see it. Don't lie to me, guys. There's only two genders. I'm not vaccinated, or am I? Or are you? I don't know. It's like, all right, okay. It's whatever. See, this is why you can't believe your comment section. They try to set you up sometime. I'm sure I heard that in his rap. Maybe a different rap song or something. I know Eminem was rapping about masks. He was like, yeah, it's Eminem. Yeah, put a mask on. Stop coughing on me. Yeah. And I was like, dude, really? Eminem literally rapped about like coughing with like Kid Cudi. I was like, ew. Let me look. I'm going to look up like the exact Eminem lyric. I was like, this is so lame. He's like, don't be coughing on me at the grocery store. The grocery store, I get groceries more. I'm Eminem. I do groceries for. I'm totally not compromised. Yeah. For sure, bro. That's a cool one. Let me see. Where's the Eminem lyrics? He's like, here it is. He said, they're coughing on me. Hold on. Here it is. Bunch of half-wits up in office talking about, Trump. Half of us walking around like a zombie apocalypse. Other half are just pissed off and don't want to wear a mask, and they're just scoffing. And that's how you end up catching that shit off them. I just use the same basket you shop in. Now I'm in an effing casket from you coughing. Oh, yeah. Like he dropped that song during COVID. He's like, oh, you scoffing, often coughing at a grocery store on my basket. Oh no, you a halfwit. You voted for Trump, you an asshat. All right, bro. Whatever you say. Like, dude, that's like the lamest lyric ever. Like, he's talking about all this crazy stuff in his music, and then he's like, I draw the line at you not wearing a mask at a Kroger. It's like, cool, dude. Wow, rap is so base. Oh, and then I'm just hating, right? People are like, oh, you're just jealous of Eminem, jealous of Tim Pool. No, Eminem was a inspiration of mine. It's just like, that's a whack lyric in my opinion, but it's, like, I'm in a coffin from you coughing. I do it often. I'm on the, I got the ravioli sauce and I mom spaghetti often. Now it's on my dress and I'm blossom. I blossom into a flower. I get a Pfizer shot in an hour. Wow. Now I have more powers. Wow. I turned into a flower. Kid Cudi's going to put me on his dress and all the kids are going to wear it. Oh, the conservatives don't want to wear the kids wearing a dress. You so obsessed. Oh, you a mess. You vote for Trump. You a stump. I'm going to take a stump with my axe and now you rump rouser, Ronda Rousey. I'm getting rowdy. I got my Pfizer shot in an hour. Wow, I get a Moderna. Oh yeah, this ain't sponsored by pharmaceuticals. I just thought of this in my head. I'm awesome. I'm awesome off the sauce and my spaghetti. Yeah, whatever, dude. We get it. You got vaccinated. Good for you. Like, am I supposed to think that's cool? Like, yeah, that's just dope, dude. Yeah, for sure. Someone said, Anomaly, you owe me a shout out. I also in 2022 told everybody that the Rams being blue, just like Ukraine. It was you, James. Everything I know, I heard somewhere. Like I don't like. It's impossible for me unless I just like was the first one who thought of something. I mean, that happens sometimes. Like I connect certain dots that like maybe other people don't. But at that point, it's just like whatever. I don't know. Like if I see something, they're like, look at the Rams colors. It's like Ukraine colors. I'm like, oh yeah. And then someone's like, did you take that from me? It's like, I don't know. Were you the first one who did it? Did you write the North Dakota article about Doug Burnham? Are you the first one to ever post it? Did you not want me to share it? I don't understand. Like if I share, say I took a screenshot and I shared that screenshot on Facebook, do you want me to credit you and say this guy tagged me in it on Twitter? Like, do people do that with my memes and stuff? Do you say Anomaly said this about Bill Gates? It's like, do what you got to do. Like if you take like my music or something and say it's yours, then yeah, that's not right. Or if you like literally just like steal my identity. But if you share a screenshot that I also screenshotted, I wouldn't like harass you over it. But I eat spaghetti often. My knees are wetty. Knees, it's like I'm getting sweaty after my Pfizer. My spaghetti. Is it the spaghetti or is it the shot? I don't really know because my flow is hot. Is it mom spaghetti? Is that why I'm sweating? Or is it because I got 3 shots in a second? I can't tell, but I'm sweating. Mom spaghetti, I'm a sweater. I got it ready. You're like, all right, dude. Is it what are you sweating from is that a side effect or is that the spaghetti? I'm not sure. It's like, didn't they make people sit there for 15 minutes afterwards? They're like, you got to sit there just in case what? Just in case a side effect happens that we have no liability for. That's all, How come you don't have liability? Because of the PrEP Act. What's the PrEP Act? It was signed under George Bush. What does it do? Gives immunity from big pharma for side effects, injuries, and deaths. Interesting. How come it's in effect right now? Well, because they declared an emergency. Who had the power to declare the emergency? Oh, the HHS director. Who's the HHS director? Oh, Alex Azar, an Eli Lilly executive, a pharmaceutical lobbyist executive. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it is, isn't it? But don't talk about it, guys, because if Trump's in office, nothing matters. He had a secret plan to arrest Chrissy Teigen at the Vatican. Oh, Anomaly, you don't understand. You haven't read every QAnon post backwards, forwards, backwards. I mean, of course, credible conspiracy theorists for the last 100 years have been telling us martial law will be bad, and they're passing executive orders to declare emergencies to use against us. So as soon as they declare an emergency to use it against us, we're going to pretend like it's a good thing, and all our enemies are secretly getting arrested in our mind, and then we're going to go to the Capitol, and then we're going to get arrested, and then we're going to rot in prison, and Trump's going to pardon foreign spies and leave us there, and we're still going to like them. Cool story. Someone said Swift is an American brainwashing campaign. I think so. I definitely, she's like, shake it off. I had 4 boyfriends and I'm single again. Oh my gosh, I just had my 7th boyfriend and now I'm single and I'm writing songs about him. It's all his fault. It's totally not me. I'm not the red flag. I mean, of course I have 5 albums complaining about men and I'm still single and it's like my 15th guy, but it's not me. That's why I'm singing about it. You know what? It's like whenever somebody posts online or like Instagram and they're posting about their exes and stuff, I'm just like, they're the problem. I've dated people for years. I've broken up. It's been their fault. It's been my fault. I don't talk about it all the time because it's like you learn a lesson, you move on, and then you try to find someone that you actually do like and make it work. If you're complaining about past things all the time, you are the problem. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl. It's like, how many times you can post about something in the past, that didn't work out. Like, move on, get something that does work. And if it doesn't work, you might be the reason it doesn't, that doesn't work. But it's like, it's making a bunch of women think that like being like single and like drinking wine and hating their ex-boyfriend is like awesome, and it's like, it's not. I mean, okay. And the Travis Kelce thing, I don't think it's organic, but whatever. I like to talk about Taylor Swift because I want just millions of crazy fans to just harass me all week. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. They don't really listen to me. I don't think that. But Taylor Swift is so popular. There's at least like 150 people watching right now that like there's 100 people being like, That's funny, but also he's wrong. Taylor Swift is the shit. And then you got like 100 people like, I hate him now. And then you got like, people on the fence like, she does have some bangers though. Like I do want to sing about Romeo and Juliet when I'm drunk. You put that song on at like a bar and, everyone's like, Romeo, take me somewhere they can be alone. I'm on my cell phone. My boyfriend got a Pfizer shot and flu shot, 2-in-1, baby. You can get yours next. See, I just gave him a free ad. You could just, give her the money next. She could change her song into a Pfizer ad. Just free content for them. Romeo, take me to a local CVS. I'll get a pharma shot. You get it in your head. I hope the side effect doesn't hit so you're dead. Baby, please just get 2-in-1 next. Side effects include diarrhea, the mouth, foaming of the mouth, your liver could fall out of your body. I mean, your foot could fall off, your arms could fall off, and there's no liability for death under thanks to George Bush. What was that? Nothing. We said safe and effective. I don't know what you heard. No, that's a good. Yeah, it's on the. I think that's on the bonus album. It's like she re-recorded the songs or something. I think she was like mad at George Soros at one point. She was like, George Soros, why did you steal my music? And I was like, listen, I'm not trying to defend him, but you sold your music. She lied about that too. She like, they got my music. Oh my gosh, I'm a victim. You sold it. That's why you're so rich. What are you talking about? Like, you can't, like, no one can just take my music. You get what I'm saying? I own 100% of my royalties. I never sold them. I never gave them to a label. I never signed a deal. No one can just steal it. It's illegal. George Soros or whoever she's blaming, Scooter Braun, they didn't steal Taylor Swift's stuff. Oh, he stole my stuff. No, they didn't. I don't care for either. Like, I don't know that much about Scooter Braun or, obviously I know more about George Soros because he's involved in a lot of politics and funding, but like, he didn't just steal Taylor Swift's music. She sold them. She signed a deal, and then she cried about selling her music for money and then re-recorded it and made more money. I mean, it's smart. She found a loophole, but she's like convincing people that they just took her music. Like, no, you sold it, but whatever. That's a different. Remember the ritual with Kanye, Beyonce? Could have been a ritual. Could have just been Kanye wasted though. You never know. You've never heard of her music? Lucky you. I would love to meet somebody that like didn't know who Trump and Taylor Swift was. Could you imagine like you just meet someone on a beach and you're like he's just wearing like a fisherman's hat and you're like, yo, what do you think about the Taylor Swift? He's like, who's Taylor? What was her name? Taylor Swift. I never heard of her. You've never heard of her? No. What about like Donald Trump? Like Donald Trump? No, I don't know. You're like, dude, I want to be friends with this guy. He literally, that would be a peaceful existence. You just didn't know any of these people. Someone said, I have a Trump centerfold over my bed with Trump holding a syringe. Why would I be mad? Dude, I should do that at a Trump event. I should like film myself and make like Trump hold. I'll give you, hold on. Who said this? Is it Take America Back? I can't read your whole thing because it says Take America B. So I'm guessing it's back, but that's all I could see. So Take America, whatever it says on YouTube. I got to give full credit or else people now they spiral. But I should do a video where I go to a Trump event and I put like the father of the vaccine and it's like him hugging a vaccine and just like hand them out to people and be like, woo, MAGA baby, and then like people would get mad or I don't know. That'd be a funny like human experiment, but we'll see. Or I'd be like, what if I did this? I went to a Trump event and been like, yo, Joe Biden took $1 million from Pfizer. He gave Joe Biden tried to give Bill Gates a White House position. Joe Biden gave $18 billion to the pharmaceutical industry. Joe Biden hired a pharmaceutical executive to run HHS and a guy who ran off after the FDA to Pfizer. Like, what do you think about Biden doing that? And then the people would be like, that's corrupt. I was like, even like outside of the mandate, that's corruption, right? Yeah. That's crazy. He, would you say Joe Biden sold out to Big Pharma? Absolutely. Actually, that was Donald Trump. And then I show them the facts and they go, oh, no. That's not selling out. He made a mistake. He listened to his advisors. Wait, no, it's something else. I mean, he did all that to save us. I mean, he worked with Big Pharma to fight Big Pharma. He's putting Fauci on a stage to explain. They would like spiral in live feed. They're like, did I just admit that my guy was in on it? No. They would be like the liberal. No. Or they'd be like, he's a communist. Get him out of here. He's a Democrat. And you're like, whatever. And that Anomaly needs to do a collaboration with Amazing Lucas. Both went from MAGA to Antifa. I'm not Antifa. I'm guessing that he's not Antifa. Here's the thing, like, Eraser, I appreciate you being here for multiple reasons. Okay. You said an hour and a half ago I was jealous of somebody I'm clearly not jealous of. You've stuck around, so you like claim to not like what I'm saying, but you've been here for at least over an hour. You're openly lying. You know that me and Amazing Lucas are not, like, you know for a fact that we're not Antifa, and it doesn't even make any sense based off what we say, yet you're saying it. So it's like, you like my stream. You've been here for an hour complaining. You've openly lied, and everybody knows you're lying. You know you're lying. You don't have to like me or that other guy, but like you know you're lying. I know you're lying. You know that I know that you're lying. Everyone now knows that you're lying. Like, do you feel like you're a truther and you're telling the truth whenever, like, you don't have to like what I'm saying, but it's like, oh, you're Antifa now. I hate this stream, but I watch it. And by the way, I'm going to end this stream now. It's not because this guy made me mad. If you notice the time frame, I try to keep it under certain hours. I want to keep this under 2 hours. So I appreciate you guys. God bless you. Thanks for being here. I'll be back tomorrow, and I'm going to try to do some short content soon because this is pretty long. Thank you. Let me know what you think in the comments, and have a beautiful day. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way